So, some common mistakes with FPS. Let's get right into it. Some people may think, get a 144 Hz monitor. It'll fix and solve all your problems. That's not entirely true. If you have 60 FPS, it's only going to inhibit you. You will see an improvement with the smoothness of your crosshair and the smoothness with how the game looks and feels. If you have more than 60 FPS, if you get like about 140 to 250 FPS would be the range I would say you would see the most drastic improvement with your gameplay. The difference is catastrophic, and yes, you should get a 144 Hz monitor if you have the money. But is it worth it though? Yes. I don't personally have a 144 Hz monitor, but they are worth it. And the science behind that is because your monitor would be updating more often, therefore it can take a more often image from what your computer's rendering. Your computer, since it's getting you about 140 to 250 FPS, would allow you to have the most up-to-date image you possibly could. It'll smoothen out your gameplay. It'll make it more fluent in the movements, and overall will drastically improve the performance you would be getting in CSGO or another competitive shooter game. Most FPS games it will help out with. It can also help out with a lot of racing games. Another issue would be FPS to image ratio. And by that I mean how many FPS you're getting to the image that you're currently receiving. If you have a bad PC and you're only getting about 60 FPS, then the image you're getting is 60 FPS to your 60 Hz. But if you're getting below that, you're actually getting an old image, and the gameplay's not going to be smooth. If you got 30 FPS, or as you can see from mine, it's pretty low. It's about 40 to 50 FPS, and sometimes 80, but that's only on good occasions. That messes you up so much, because as you start to shoot, you start to lag, which changes your aim. It changes the fluentness of your crosshair. That can mess up the consistency that you need when playing shooter games. And it's very important to have consistency when playing shooter games, because that's literally the basis of everything else. Without consistency in your aim, then you might as well not play a shooter game, right? Another issue is peeker's advantage. Peeker's advantage is kind of touchy-feely, because if you're trying to peek, as you can see right there, I was out in the open, and he was out in the open. Peeker's advantage was not in that situation. But to show a little bit more what Peeker's advantage is, or to explain a little bit more what it is, it's pretty much what the name is, Peeker's advantage. Whoever peeks first has the advantage over the other person. Mostly because if you peek, you see them first. If they peek you, they see you first. Which leads me to why you seem to die instantly when you're peeked. When someone peeks you, since they have Peeker's advantage and they see you first, it seems like they just instantly stop, or sometimes it seems like they don't even stop, and you're dead. That's because your client is still receiving information from the server. Since there's latency, you don't see them until they see you for a couple of seconds. Sometimes even making you seem like you're standing still, or seem like you're not moving at all, most because you can't see them. To counteract that, when peeking, more FPS would be better. Also, probably the most important thing is having a good ISP. Without proper ISP or with a bad ISP, which is Internet Service Provider, you'd have a lot less FPS. I mean, not FPS, you'd have worse ping. The worse ping you have, the more peak advantage you do have, but that also means they see you standing still, or they see you lagging around and glitching, and you'll rubber band a lot, which you might seem like you're behind cover, but you're not. You probably already know that, though. You might as well just get the best ISP you possibly can, because there's not really much else you can do about the issue of having bad FPS and bad ping, besides getting a new computer and getting a better ISP. What FPS should you have? Well, you should have at least 140 to 250 FPS. 300 is nice and smooth, but the more FPS you have, the smoother your gameplay seems to feel, the smoother the game runs, and overall, it's just a better experience. With lower frame rate, your mouse movement does seem slower. It ruins your consistency, and consistency is very important when playing competitive shooters. So I'd say, when it comes to how much FPS you should have, or what's the highest FPS that you would need? 140 can be overkill for some people. If you can at least get 100 to 120 FPS, you'll be better off. So crank down the settings, get as much FPS as possible, because that will be the deciding factor whether or not you win or lose. Make sure to dislike the video, unsubscribe if you haven't already. Make sure to report me for a bunch of different things.